Samantha and I am the Huga Stitcher. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have a really fun episode planned for you. I have been away for about a month, and during that month I have making some really great progress on some of my really big projects. And I can't wait to talk to you about them all today. I just wanted to start off by saying my last episode, I had shared some really big projects, all of my large mirabilias that I've worked on over the years. And there was one that I actually forgot about. You know, it's funny, I walked around my house and collected all of the patterns that I had, and I have forgotten, there's been patterns that I've given away. There's things that I've, stitched and passed on. So I want to insert a picture of a project that I worked on a few years ago by Mirabilia that is called Tree of Hope. Tree of Hope I worked on, it took me a long time to finish that project. It's beautiful. I love the tree. I love the two girls underneath with the butterflies and, the bird in the tree. It was the first time that I had ever used water lily silk. There's a couple of them in there, and that was really exciting. Back then I had never used silk before, so it was like a real treat being able to use those fun threads, and I really enjoyed this project. But it's a special one to me because while I was stitching on it, it reminded me of my family. As I was stitching on it, it reminded me of my mom. She really loves to garden. And so I don't live close to home anymore, and I don't visit very often. So it's tough for me. I miss my family. And so, during that time I was stitching on it and thinking of them. And I thought to myself, I'm gonna stitch this one for my mom. This one, she has no idea I'm stitching it. She has no idea it's gonna be for her one day, but I just knew that I was gonna gift it to my mom. And a few years back, I had it framed at the local needle workshop here, and it's amazing. It's funny because I actually, after I had finished it, had it framed, I immediately had the framer put it in a really good box because I told her it was going to be shipped to British Columbia in Canada here, and I wanted it to make sure that it would travel safely. So they, bubble wrapped it, lots of tape, lots of protection, and so I only got to see it completed for the 5 minutes I was in the shop before they packaged it up. So I don't have I've got a picture of it, but I don't have that daily, visual of what it looks like, so I forget. But I absolutely love this piece, and I think it turned out amazing. And I had gifted it to my mom, completely surprised her one day, was shipping it to her. She just arrived. When she opened the box, she thought, what is this? Is this gonna be like a family portrait or something? What is this? And she opened it up, and she loved it. It was the first cross stitch that I've ever made for her. And she messaged me and was like, it's about time. It's about time you cross stitch something for me. That's my mom's humor. She's awesome. And that was a really special piece for me, and I wanted to share it with you so you could see another large mirabilia that I have completed that I could add to my list that I have done. And if you love this pattern, you should absolutely go get it. It was a really fun stitch because of that, the tree with all the leaves and the bird, and then, the bottom of the tree. And then you got to stitch the two girls on the side, and they were both mini, they weren't very big, the girls. I remember it being a really simple stitch, and beautiful colors. So it's a great one. You should get it if you're thinking oh, I love that design. You should definitely get it. You will enjoy it. It's a fun stitch and an unusual, out of all of the mirabilias, that one kind of stands out to me because it's different. I haven't seen anything like it where you could say oh, those two are kind of similar. It's on its own. It's a special one on its own. Tree of Hope by Mirabilia. Love. In front of me, I have pulled out another design that I stitched many years ago. This is a lavender and lace. Actually, it was the second design I had ever stitched. The first one I did was a teddy bear's picnic that I made for my first daughter. And when she was born, it was on the wall above her crib. And then when we had our second, I was like, well, I got to stitch a pattern for my second daughter. And this is a lavender and lace. It's called Enchanted Alphabet. I pulled it out for you to show off again today because I've shown this before in my Flosstube, but I thought I'm gonna bring it out again. And I've been starting to think like, wow, I would love to frame this piece. It's so beautiful. You know, I would enjoy looking at it now, but one day I want to gift it to my daughter when, you know, she gets older and maybe she might have a baby, or just want it for herself, to keep it, because this is definitely for her. But this is, yeah, Lavender and Lace Enchanted Alphabet. It was so enjoyable to stitch. Each letter was, you know, kind of, it would change, you know, you would stitch one color and then you would go into another. And as you went through the design, it would change, which is really fun. The only part that I actually didn't enjoy about this was those little flowers down at the bottom. It was just so confetti. For the first time, I had a stitch that it was very confetti heavy in just a small little area, but it was like one pink stitch over here and one over there, and then tie it off, that's it. And there's another one over here and another one down there. Oh my gosh, but look at this cute bunny and this adorable dress. This is so beautiful. The dove up there. I love this piece. Oh, like, I want to be able to look at it more often, have it on the wall. Wouldn't it be beautiful in a really nice, like, white frame? Maybe some matting. This is gorgeous. Oh, it's just sitting in a drawer, you guys. It's terrible. Oh man, one day. But I just really wanted to bring it out and to share it with you. You know, another piece that I've done that's needs to be framed. And then let's get on to the stitching. Like I said, I have been stitching for the past month every day almost, and putting in a ton of progress on some of these projects. This one is Emerald City by Owl Forest Embroidery. I'm so excited to show you, because the last couple times I pulled this out, I have been working on the Emerald City in the middle. And you know, the last three sort of parts of the stitch along have been like one row of the like the bottom of it, and then it's like, okay, the second half is the middle piece, and then this was the third part to it. So it's all come together, and I've been able to do you know, add in all my bling. Do you remember me telling you that I wanted to add in some sparkle into Emerald City because I really wanted it to shine? And I had, you know, some thoughts. What would Nora Corbett do? You know, if she had designed Emerald City right in the middle, what would she add to it? That's what I was thinking in my head. And, you know, I found some beads. I did, actually, the beads that I did in the center, at the bottom, these ones are the regular size glass beads. And then I found the same color, but I found them in petites. So what I did is just to add a little bit of, you know, depth to it. This is up front, so they have the larger beads, and then farther back is the petites at the top. I added some treasures. I also added some Krynic. I was working on this last night. I couldn't believe it. After I put it all together, I'm like, wow, that's good. Oh, this is so sparkly. The design also used, you know, this is some sparkly floss, a DMC, and that where I really love it because it was difficult to use, but I really loved it because it did add that emerald color, you know, that really deep emerald color that I really wanted to have in the design. So I'm glad that that's there. And it had like some specialty stitches. Some of them are Smyrna, some of them, I don't know if they have a name, they're just like, they kept going. They had 12 points to them, just kept going. But I followed the instructions that came with the design, and they were very easy to do. A little bit of back stitching right here to kind of put the points there. Yeah, and then I added some treasures, which are really fun. And this little gold bell. In the design, there is a gold bell stitched, and I thought, wow, I wonder if this little gold bell will fit in there, and it actually fit perfectly where the stitches were supposed to be. So I thought, yep, that's going in. I love it. Look at this. Wow. I love this design. Owl Forest Embroidery has some really amazing free designs that you can go and download, get it today, and start stitching. I did use, you know, I had ordered the fabric and the floss. This was a few years ago though. And I had ordered them so that I could, you know, have that experience of stitching with the Owl Forest embroidery floss. And I really do enjoy it. It is a lot of fun. However, if you weren't wanting to do that, you really could just kit this up in DMC. You could find some variegated floss that you love, maybe you have in your collection already, like, you know, some golds, you know, if you wanted to find a couple of green, like you could kit this up and have a lot of fun with it. I really enjoy this project because I have been adding my own elements to it. Not so much with Alice in Wonderland. I've been sticking to the pattern exactly how it is, but this one I'm having fun with. You know, when I first started stitching on it, I didn't know it was going to happen, but I just felt like, oh, the first thing that came up were the ruby red slippers. I was like, I needed to have, like the witch didn't have, Under the House didn't have ruby reds, and I thought, I'm going to change that. And as I was going through, I felt like, well, I wonder if I could add some beads here, that it was almost calling for beads. And you know, these little doodads, I don't know what they are, little, you know, elements, to me, they kind of remind me of like what, maybe magic or something. You know, the lion, I added whisper thread. These ones, I have a Magnifica bead that I added in here, the corn. And, you know, I added some different size black beads into the center of the poppies. I used large ones in the back, little ones in the front. These mice, I did the same thing. I used a large bead for the nose and small beads for the eyes. And then these gold Magnifica beads for the crown. Like as I was going along, I added what I thought would look amazing in it. And I think so far it's turning out really great. I still have quite a bit to go. This is, I would say, 75% done maybe. There's still so much more, like up and around. There's a hot air balloon. There's some slippers up here. There's a witch on this side, a monkey, the wizard. Like there's still so much that I need to stitch. I was looking at it last night. There's 4 more parts. So 4 more times and then this is getting finished this year. For sure, this is getting finished, but I'm really, really enjoying this design. Look at it, it's so good. Oh, so good. There we go. Okay, Emerald City, Owl Forest embroidery. I forgot to show you. I usually start off with my book of days. Now, last month, in the month of March, I had decorated my journal with all stickers that I could find from my sticker book that kind of reminded me of Wizard of Oz. And for the month of April, I went through the book and found all the stickers that reminded me of Alice in Wonderland. So that was really fun. Really, really fun. You know, there was a couple, you know, like I found a mushroom and a caterpillar and, you know, some cards, the queen, a cat, the hat, the rabbit, and Lamina. That is Alice, right? So I'm having a lot of fun with that. Really, really great. I don't know what I'm gonna do next month. We'll just figure it out. Sometimes I get inspired by like certain colors. So I'll find like all the green stickers or all the red ones or, you know, that sort of thing, or all the flowers. So it's kind of fun just to every month to kind of have a little theme. You know, in February I did all kind of like Valentine's Day, flowers, love. January, what did I do? I think I was just grabbing stickers. Yeah, really, really fun. So I'm having fun with that. Up next, I want to just talk to you about Spring Quaker. Oh my gosh, by Lila Studio. So good. I've been making really great progress. I'm really proud of myself. I have completed the, I guess you would say, the border. All the way around, all the medallions, all the way around. All I have left now is the center basket. How exciting. I got to stitch my initials in there. When I was going through the design, it said, you know, pick whatever color you want and stitch your initials. I gave you a little chart on it. I was like, I wonder, I almost wanted to put my middle initial in there, but there wasn't quite enough room. And I thought maybe I could move this over. No, I didn't want to mess with it. But I did find the color in the design that isn't used very much that I absolutely love. which are these color of flowers up here. I don't know if you remember me talking about this when I first started this design, but how surprised I was that the flowers were this beautiful pink and the stem of the flowers were done in DMC black 310. And it surprised me. I was like, what, black? It's not green? That's weird. But it's like my favorite part of the whole design. It just pops off the page. Yeah, so does this crow. You know, the black in there's just a little bit of it, you know, the wording, but it's just the right amount. And yes, I absolutely love it. Wow. Hasn't this turned out amazing? I'm so thrilled with this design. I really had a ton of fun stitching these two bunnies down at the bottom and those tulips. Just so beautiful. There's so many little things to this design that if you don't, you know, if you don't look close, you're gonna miss it. There's these tiny little bees in there, butterflies and tulips. And these kind of reminded me of snowflakes for some reason. You know, I know this is a spring Quaker, but the words at the top say, no matter how long the winter, spring is sure to follow. So these kind of reminded me of snow. Yeah. And as I was stitching this design, I chose to follow the alphabet. There's many people stitching this and everybody kind of starts in a different place. I started up here at the top on page 1 and did ABC. And then I thought, oh, I would love to get to, you know, do this Quaker or these medallions and move across. And as I was like, you know what, it would be kind of neat to do ABC and DE and then follow the alphabet as it goes in the design and then stitch the medallions around it, or, you know, pick some colors where, you know, do a couple snowflakes and the bee and then move on to this side. So I kind of just went like back and forth, followed the alphabet and where it led me. And as I was doing that, I sort of set goals for myself, like, okay, this month I want to get across the top, you know, and then the next time I was like, I want to get halfway down on both sides. And then the third month, you know, I wanted to do these half medallions here. And then it was just like, wow, look at me go. You know, I started this in October and it is now April and I've completed the whole border just by pulling this out once a month and getting a chunk done. And it's been so rewarding. I love this stitch. If you have this pattern and you want to join us on Instagram, we're using the hashtag Spring is Sure to Follow Sal. We're having fun over there, so get yours out, start stitching. I am stitching mine on a 36 count, hand dyed by Rolanda. This one's called Cafe Latte, and I'm using all DMC, using 2 threads, 2 strands of DMC over 2 linen threads, and it's looking amazing. I cannot wait to get into the middle. And you know, it's totally different stitching, right? I've been stitching a little motif at a time, and now I get to do the center basket, all those sort of like checkers down at the bottom, and then the house, all those little houses and the tree and the flowers. Like, oh, I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be so fun. So yes, there we go, Spring Quaker by Lila Studio. Next up, I'm gonna talk about mirabilia. I had talked about in my last video that I was going to be stitching all of my large mirabilias that I have on the go. And I have started, this was Rapunzel. Rapunzel, I started on January 1st this year. It was my new year, new start. And I made great progress. You know, I had stitched some of her face and some of her hair. And basically this is the top half of the design. And I wanted to get this blue color in there and kind of do a little bit at the top, a little at the bottom. And I did that to kind of, you know, that part I always find kind of challenging when you're working with 2 sides of the design, one on one side, one on the other, and you're flipping back and forth all the time. But once you get the first like few colors in, it's easy to, you know where you are. So this I worked on for a whole week, and it doesn't look like a ton of progress, but it is. I had really gone in and did all the colors at the top part in her hair, and there were a lot of color changes. You know, in her hair she has black, there's a dark brown, a deep brown, and it just gets lighter and lighter. Then there's almost like this goldy color in there. And there's also some Krynic. There's some gold Krynic in there and some deep red Krynic. What's really fun about this design is her hair. There's so many elements in it. There is, like I said, the colors. There's these flowers. There's going to be flowers in her hair, like crystals. And then there's also tons of beading. There's little beads, there's bugle beads, it just goes on and on. Like there's so much detail that's going to be going into her hair. And so as you can see, I've left some spaces, and that's where the beads are going to go. So there's Krynic, like it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. Oh, so yeah, that took a whole week for me to, you know, kind of get that top part of the design done. And I'm still not all the way there. There's still a little bit more of this, like, I don't know, maybe it's like ribbon, sort of these goldy colors. There's some down here and some on the other side too. So I didn't quite get all that I wanted to get done, but I feel confident that the next time I pick this up, I'll be able to do more of the blues and get the blue part of her dress in. And then work into the pink. That's going to be exciting, actually. Getting those bright pink colors on the design. You can see little bits of it in the flowers, but this is going to be amazing. So awesome. So I'm going to take this off the board here so I can show you something. I had some questions from my last video about how I stitch in hand, and they were like, please, can you do a video? And I'm thinking to myself, man, I would actually love to do video for you to show you how I stitch, but I don't know how to do it. Like, I don't know how to set myself up. I've thought about it a few times. I'm like, how would I do that? I just don't know how I would do it. I guess I'm gonna need to maybe purchase some sort of stand where you have it at the top and you put your, like I use my phone to film, and then aim it down. I'd have to give it, you know, find something that I can use for that, but maybe. But I wanted to show you, I did a little bit of research because I told you I was taught by my best friend how to stitch in hand. And I'm pretty sure that her mom taught her how to stitch in hand and just sort of passed that on to me. And I came across a video this week. It was Carol, Saltbox Stitcher. I was watching her video, and at some point she had mentioned that she stitches in hand, and that if you want to watch a great video on how she does it, she you know, suggested to go watch Jean Ferris Needleworks. I'm gonna link the video below because I went straight there and was like, oh, I want to see the different ways you can stitch in hand. And Jean did a video, it's Flosstube number 16, on 3 different ways that you can cross stitch in hand. And she did a wonderful job. So if you're interested to see how I stitch, you know, I suggest going over and watching the video. And what I learned, I had no idea. There are 3 different ways, 3 different stitches, 3 different methods is what I should say. So there's the Danish method, the English method, and the Victorian method. So 3 different types of in-hand stitching, and she goes through each of them. And I was surprised to learn that the way that I stitch is the Danish method. And you know, I'll just show you the back real quick so you can kind of see what my stitching looks like from the back. And it basically is where you see your stitches, the line that it creates is up and down. Majority of it, you know, I do a lot of up and down stitching, but what I learned as I was watching the video, I was like, oh, I do the Danish method when I go like right to left. And sometimes I do the Victorian method going left to right. Like I kind of incorporate a little bit of everything. And the English method is basically like stitching each stitch one at a time. And yeah, so I found that quite fascinating because I think I incorporate a little bit of all 3 while I'm stitching, depending on what I'm doing, where I'm going, where my needle is, and I need to go down and to the left, like, okay, how am I going to get there? So I do a little bit of all 3, but majority is the Danish method because you'll see my stitching goes up and down. Yeah, that is so cool. And I thought, you know, that's interesting because my best friend, who taught me, her family is from Holland. And actually the story of how my girlfriend and I started stitching together, we were like 15, 16 when we first met each other. And I had, you know, just started cross stitching and had told her about it. And she's like, oh, I cross stitch too. And I was like, really? No way. And she's like, yeah, my family and I went to Holland one time and my mom bought me a cross stitch pattern while we were there, so that I could bring it home with me and stitch and you know, practice. And so her first cross stitch pattern was from Holland and her mom taught her and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I just thought that's kind of interesting. Like, wow, okay, that's where I've picked up this method, you know, because she taught me how to stitch in hand. So I just think that's fascinating. That's really, really cool. I had no idea. I had no idea that the way I stitch had a method to it. I just stitched that way. I don't know. So that's cool. I just wanted to show you the back, right? We don't usually show each other our backs, but I tend to, you know, when I start the pattern is I will like start stitching, I will do the loop method. So I'll take a really long piece of DMC and fold it in half and do the loop start. And then when I'm done, I'll tuck my thread through my stitching in the back. So you can see where I'm finishing off sometimes right there. So there we go. So go check out that video. You'll find it fascinating. If you're somebody who maybe doesn't stitch in hand, but is like curious, like how does it work? You could go watch the video. It's probably about like halfway through the video and it's about 5 minutes where you can watch her do each stitch. And I just thought it was fascinating. So good. So I actually want to practice a little bit more of trying like the Victorian method. I thought that was really neat. It's just basically like putting your needle side, like I'm usually, my needle's always going up and down, and the Victorian method is sort of like you're sewing on top, but your needle's going this way. I don't know, really cool. I'm gonna try that out. Awesome. Okay, let's get on to the next design. This one is Stargazer by Mirabilia. I'm really excited to share with you what I've been doing on this one too. I started, can't remember, did I start that in like November last year? I think it was maybe November, maybe December. And I was concentrating this time on completing those ribbons. Those ribbons are no joke. It's a lot of color changing. And planning out like, okay, I have this color and there's a little bit over here and then stop, a little bit over there, some down here, and sort of mapping out how to complete all of the ribbons. So I did all the ribbon up at the top. I did all the ribbons. This is sort of the halfway point for the design. And so I, you know, broke that, went into both pages and worked my way down and completed them here. And then these ones up top too. Oh, and I also filled in, this was fun, filling in this gray color. And then I stopped. I worked on it for a whole week and I really wanted to get start this, you know, the front piece. They almost look like almost purpley. In the picture it doesn't really look purpley, but in person it actually is a little more purple. But I want to get that front part of her dress in. And these ruffles down at the bottom are going to be amazing. And as I was stitching it and I'm leaving spaces for the beads, don't those look fun? Like they are going to be so enjoyable to put in. It's just like these perfect little spaces. You see exactly where they're going to go. That's going to be fun. Sometimes I bead as I go. Depending on what I'm doing, you know, like sometimes if there isn't really a lot of beading in her hair in this design or anything like that. It's more around all the stars. So I think I might actually do those last, just cause it'll be, I don't know, I don't want to put them in and then like I stitch in hand, so I don't want to like crinkle them all up, you know, as I'm stitching. So I'll wait to the end to do that, I think. But maybe in her dress, maybe I might go ahead and do some as the colors change. Like in the darker part, there's a darker bead that goes in here. And then when you're in the lighter part of her dress, it's all like white, a whiter white bead. So I might do some of that maybe next time. Isn't it looking amazing? Wow, oh, this is so good. All right, on to the next one. I had like a whole month. I gave all my Miras a week each, and I did 3 projects. So this last one here I did was mirabilia, Luca. I love this design. It's looking so good. This is the one I was the most excited to show you because I feel like I made the most progress on this one. Okay. Look at that. Oh my gosh. I completed her hair. Only thing I wasn't able to do was the back stitching in her skin. I wasn't quite there yet. I basically, before I do any back stitching, I want to make sure that I've completed all the stitches around them. So, you know, I did all of her hair. I did a little bit of her wing, but I'm missing a few colors here that I need to do. See how I did all the stitching that's like around here, but I feel like there's some more. Yeah, there's even more here on her part of the bed right here. So I have a few more things to do before I want to get the back stitching done, but that's gonna like transform it. But I didn't touch any green in her dress, but I did do, you know, there's like, you can almost see right here where the divide in the page was between the 2 sides of the pattern, and I wanted to get through that part and get this you know, the brown goldy colors of her bedding completed, and it looks amazing. And then I thought, oh, I'm gonna have some fun. I just did the dark color of her wings. I didn't do all of it. I just wanted to get that dark color of her wing so you could see the shape of them. Like, wow, this is amazing. Oh, I want to spend more time with Luca. She's going to be really, really amazing. Completed. I can just tell the colors are awesome. I've been following someone on Instagram who is also stitching Luca right now, and I thought it was really cool. She had a really fun fabric that had a lot of modeling in it, deeper colors, and she had changed the color of the bedding so that it was like, instead of blue tones, it was like pink. Oh, it was really, really fun, and it brought out the pink that was in the background of the fabric. Really, really beautiful. If you're on Instagram, you should go follow the hashtag for Luca, and you'll find it. It's so amazing. There we go, Luca. My last video, I actually received a few questions that came up about how I bead. And I wish I was set up to show you all how I stitch, how I bead, and do a video that way. Until then, I thought I would just describe how I bead currently. I like to think the simplest way. Like, I think of creating that X and slipping the bead on as I go through. So basically I come up the hole, I slip the bead on, and then I go down, and then I come back up, I go through the bead, and then come back down. And I find that what that does is it holds the bead in place, and it's not gonna move, and it's sort of sitting straight up and down. And I like that. I like my beading to sit straight up and down. You know, I typically stitch on 32 count for my mirabilias, and I have not really had any issues with overcrowding, but every once in a while, if there's a lot of beads in one section and you're doing a row of beads, and you'll find that like once you've got 3, 4, that 5th one is like not gonna fit. So what I tend to do is I'll skip a bead every once in a while, and I'll try it out. You know, I'll be like, that's getting too tight. I'm just gonna skip and go down one more and put in my bead, and then I look at it and like, yeah, it looks great. You know, it sort of gives that little bit of breathing room as you're moving down. That works well for me. Like I said, I love, you know, just that simple, like come up, put your bead on, go down the hole, make that X as you normally would stitch. And that's all I do for beading. Also, I wanted to share with you, I have received some Stitchy kindness, and it came about in a really fun way. I had recently placed a really small order with 123 Stitch. I ordered some fabric, and I want to share with you what fabric it hasn't arrived. It's going on a journey. It's been all over, and anywhere but my house. But you know, every other day I say, oh, today's gonna be the day. Now it like went somewhere different. But I had ordered it for, I want to get a start on the 2020 Pandemic Sampler by Sarcy Girl. And the reason, you know, I took so long trying to figure out what kind of fabric I wanted to work on. I thought maybe I was gonna do like a natural color. No, I, you know, kept looking at this picture and I kept seeing like the darker color. And I've seen people use like the lighter color, like a neutral or beige. And I just kept going back and forth. I like the way that it looks on darker fabric. However, if I'm gonna stitch it on 40 count, I can't do it. I already have one project, my zodiac sign, that's on a 40 count darker fabric, and it's challenging. I can do it, but I don't want to have two really challenging, you know, projects on the go. So I decided I want to go lighter. And I found a fabric that is lighter and has some gray modeling in it. And I can't wait for it to arrive so I can show you, because I think it's going to be amazing. And I'm really, really excited to use the Missa Seda silks, the conversion that was done for this sampler. That was a gift from a Flosstuber, Lady Lugana, and I cannot wait. She's stitching it too, and I cannot wait to get started on this, because I've never used these silks before and I'm dying to get it on the fabric. So I placed a small order and I'm waiting for it to come. And currently right now, last week it was spring break, so my family was all home. And we're sitting at the table and we're playing a board game, and we see the mailman come, and I was like, oh, that's my 1, 2, 3 stitch, you know, the person dropped it off and they left. And so I was like, you know, ran to the mailbox to go get it, and it was 1, 2, 3 stitch parcel. And I just thought of, you know, I ripped it open and I'm like, I kind of had a look of like shock on my face, like, oh my gosh, I didn't order this. And then my husband's like, what? I'm like, did I place the wrong order? Like, I having sort of like this panic, like, did I place 2 orders, not just 1? Like, oh my gosh. And, you know, but it's something that I actually would really want. So I was like, maybe I bought this. I don't know. It took me a couple minutes to figure this out, but it was the Summer Quaker by Lila Studio, which you guys all know I'm a really big fan of. My last video, I talked a lot about how I'm really excited about this new release. So here's the pattern and the called for fabric. This is a 46 count hand-dyed linen called Latte by Fiber on a Whim. It's absolutely beautiful. I've never stitched on Fiber on a Whim, so I was just like, what in the world? What in the heck? Look at this. This is amazing. This is amazing. So my husband's like, well, what does it say on the envelope? And I look at the, you know, because I didn't even look to see who it was sent to or whatever, because I just immediately thought it was mine. And it said the Huga Stitcher. And that just got me like thinking, like, who would have sent this to me? Like, what? And I had no idea, like no one, you know, messaged me, nothing like that to be like, hey, something's coming in the mail for you. So I was totally puzzled. So for like a whole 24 hours, I kept like, first of all, I couldn't believe it. I was like, somebody sent me something. This is really amazing. Like, wow. And who it was? Like, I kept going, maybe it's this person, maybe it's that person. And my husband's like, well, maybe it was me. And I'm like, what? You wouldn't have done that. He's like, he's trying to take credit for this. And then the next day, my girlfriend calls me and she's like, how's it going? You know, how's spring break going? Blah, blah, blah. We're talking away. And she's like, so anything exciting happening? And I'm like, well, actually, something really exciting happened yesterday. And I was telling her the whole story. And then it hits me. I'm like, are you the one that sent this to me? She just burst out laughing. She's like, yeah, I was trying to surprise you. I was like trying to throw you off by putting the Huga Stitcher, right? And I was like, oh my gosh. My girlfriend bought it for me because I had mentioned in my last video that I really wanted to start this for my birthday. So my birthday is not until August, but she wanted to gift it to me, and so that I had it and that I could start it for my birthday closer to August. Isn't that amazing? Seriously. I had the biggest laugh about it because my husband was trying to take credit for it. That's so funny. So good. So I actually want to say for the spring Quaker, I want to start another stitch along. I'm thinking of my start time that I'll start this would be August 1st. That's my birthday month, and I thought it would be really fun. I haven't come up with a hashtag yet. I mean, we could just use spring Quaker. If you have any ideas, it says live in the sunshine, swim in the sea, drink the wild air. Maybe we can use that somehow for the stitch along. So I'm thinking, you know, it'd be really fun to start this in August. So if you want to join, if you have this pattern already or thinking about getting it, you have time before we start. I know there's a few other Flosstubers that I have been watching over the last week or so that have purchased the pattern, and they're really excited about it too. We've got Laura from Lala D Stitches. She is, I think she's gonna jump in. We have Amber, Rogue Mama Stitcher. Hi Amber, she's amazing. She recently purchased the pattern and we're gonna stitch it together. Sarah, Lady Lugana, and Courtney, Stitches Please. She is also going to be joining us. I talked to her yesterday. I messaged her. I was like, so you want to stitch this summer? She's like, yep, let me get it up. So I'm excited. You know, actually, I've never talked about Courtney before. I recently came across her Flosstube a couple weeks ago, I think, and have been watching her videos. And she just released a video a few days ago. It's her birthday, and it's her 2-year anniversary for Flosstube. So I thought that was really worth noting, that you should go over and meet Courtney if you haven't met her yet. She's really fun and she has amazing projects, and she also does knitting. So I really enjoyed watching her channel. So go check out Courtney. Yeah, I think I've covered everything. Nope, there's one more. There's one more Flosstuber. I've got my notes here. I wanted to mention Tammy. Tammy her Flosstube is called Tammy's Cinnamon Stitches, and she has 3 videos out. Really, really fun. She stitches mirabilia and others like full coverage pieces. She's also working on Alice in Wonderland and having, like, she's chosen a darker fabric, different colors. It looks amazing. I'm so excited to be following her progress. So go check out Tammy's Cinnamon Stitches. I'll link all of these below so that you can go check them out too. So there's that. The Summer Quaker, yay. I wanted to say, I've been thinking a lot about the Summer Quaker, and you know, my girlfriend gifted me the fabric and the pattern, but I think I might switch fabrics. This is the fabric that I've chosen for Spring Quaker. It's a 36 count, and I have this fabric that is also my second piece that I have by hand dyed by Rolanda. This one's called Sky Blue, and I mean, it's completely different, but it's 36 count, and I think I want to do the DMC 2/2 just how I did this one, and I think this blue fabric is going to be amazing. I have to pull the colors and, you know, do my test and all that thing to see, make sure it's the right size. I've already checked the size and it will work. But, you know, the sky blue, and then, you know, I think the color, it's like a navy blue, right? The Quaker navy blue would pop on this and look amazing. So I kind of want to pull those colors, like the crab and the lighthouse and the water, the whale, like all the colors, and see what they look like on this fabric, because I think it's going to be amazing. And I would love to find, I've had this piece of linen in my collection for like 5 or 6 years, like a long time, and I want to find the perfect project for it, and I think this is it. So I think I'm going to do this. And you know, I was looking at this fabric, like I want to use fiber on a whim. Like, I want to find something good for this. And it's such a beautiful neutral. I started thinking about some of my other patterns that I have in my collection that I've been like, I need fabric. And this being a 46 count neutral, like I guess you would call that a neutral, right? Latte, beautiful. I'm thinking that I need to stitch Jane Hopkins, Hands Across the Sea on this. I think it'll look amazing. I'm stitching it all in DMC, and I've already pulled all the colors. Like, oh, I think it'll be so good. So one of the big colors around the border is, I think those are strawberries. So there's a red color. So there's quite a bit of it in here. Oh, but I think it'll look really, really good. All these colors, so much green and florals, pinks. Yeah. So we'll possibly have a new start on this one too. I really like this pattern I bought last year, and I wanted it to be my new year, new start, and I just didn't have any fabric that would go with it, and I was stuck there. You know, I had the pattern, I got the flosses, and I was just like, what fabric? And I just looking at the picture, I can see like it's more, this is a little bit darker, I guess. You know, this is sort of more of like a peachy, but I think I'm falling in love with the colors on this. I want to give it a go. So I think that'll be good. And fiber on a whim, I'm so excited. Yay! I have one small purchase left that I wanted to share with you. This is really cool, I think. It's a polar bear floss drop. And I purchased this from the Winnipeg Embroidery Guild that I belong to. They're doing like, you know, these little fundraisers throughout the year because we have seminar coming up this June. I think it's June. Yeah, June. And, you know, people from all over Canada who belong to embroidery guilds they meet once a year. And every year it's in a new location. And this year is the 50th anniversary and it's being held in Winnipeg, which is really exciting. So they were doing this really cool polar bear floss drop. So I'm excited to find a project. It has 15 spaces on here, so something that has like close to 15 colors I'm gonna use, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to it. That's just really cool. I've never seen anything like that. Really neat. Really, really cool. I'm excited about the seminar too. That's gonna be a lot of fun. A lot of people, new people that I'll get to meet while we're there. So I think that's it for today. I had a lot of fun sharing my projects with you. I hope you enjoyed it as well. I will be back again, hopefully in 3 weeks, a month. I don't like to wait too long, but I also want to have a lot of progress to be able to share with you all as well. So I hope that you're enjoying your stitching and that you have a wonderful day. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.